up, guys? So continuing the Oscar ranking series, today we're going to be looking at the Best Supporting Actress winners of the 2010s, as in 2010 to 2019. Going to be going through all 10 of them and ranking them from my least favourite to my favourite. And I have to say, out of all the acting categories that I've done so far in this Oscar ranking series, this one, the Best Supporting Actress winners, was by far and away the most difficult one I've had to do. I think the reason that I struggled is because I really like, respect and admire all of these ladies, and I genuinely love all of their work here. So it's like trying to rank your children or something. Honestly, try it yourself. Try ranking all 10 of these Best Supporting Actress winners and you'll see how challenging it is to put them in some sort of order. But do let me know in the comment section down below how you would rank them, and also let me know what you think of my rankings. As we count down to number 1, I will be stating if I believe the correct person won that year. If not, I'll make an argument as to who I think the best choice would have been. Okay, so let's get started. Right. Sadly, somebody has to come in the last place position, and I take no pride in saying who this woman is because I still think it's a great performance. It's just my least favourite of all 10 of these amazing performances, and it is Patricia Arquette for her performance in Boyhood. Now I've got to try and justify why Patricia Arquette comes in at number 10, because I like Boyhood and I like Patricia Arquette as Mason's mother Olivia. I thought it was a very naturalistic and authentic performance, probably drawing from her own experiences of being a mother herself. And I guess that's why she doesn't come higher on the ranking for me, is because it does feel like a performance that plays into her strengths. It doesn't feel like she has to stretch very far to play this role. Granted, she does have a subplot about domestic abuse. That's probably the meatiest bit of her character, but I just wasn't particularly wowed watching Patricia Arquette in Boyhood. There's other Best Supporting Actress winners in this decade who might not have a lot of screen time, but they certainly have presence and they make an impact and they really stay with you after you've watched it. And with Patricia Arquette, she's just kind of there. Did the right person win that year though? I think so. I can make a strong argument for Emma Stone in Birdman, or an even stronger argument for Laura Dern in Wild. However, Patricia Arquette was the single Oscar win for Boyhood, and when you think about how many years it took to make this film, 12 years this film took, it would have been a travesty if Boyhood went home empty-handed, so I'm glad that she won. I think she was a worthy winner, and it is a lovely performance. I just think it is a little bit forgettable. Okay, next up at number 9, we have Mellisa Leo as Alice Eklund-Ward in David O. Russell's The Fighter. I really like The Fighter, and I love Mellisa Leo's performance as the fiercely loyal mother of boxers Dickie and Mickey Ward. But again, like Patricia Arquette, it's not a performance which stands out in my mind. Partly because her co-star Christian Bale was playing such a whirlwind of a character as her son Dickie, who also won an Oscar for his performance. When I look back on The Fighter, my mind immediately goes to Christian Bale because he overshadows her with a bigger performance. But that's part of the brilliance of Leo's more subtle approach. In many ways, it's actually more impressive than Bale's. It's just not as memorable as Bale's. It doesn't have as much oomph. It doesn't pack as much of a punch, you might say, like Christian Bale's did. Very fitting when this is a boxing movie. Did the right person win that year though? If I'm being completely honest, Hailee Steinfeld's performance as Mattie Ross in True Grit has stood the test of time more so than Mellisa Leo's in The Fighter, I would say. It's a staggeringly good performance from Hailee Steinfeld, and her being such a young actress and sharing the big screen with Jeff Bridges, she completely holds her own, and yeah, that is a performance with some oomph. Okay, coming in at number 8, we have Alicia Vikander for her performance as artist Gerda Wegener in Tom Hooper's The Danish Girl. I love Alicia Vikander. I think she is insanely talented. I remember saying to myself after I watched Ex Machina and Testament of Youth, that girl is gonna win an Oscar someday. And lo and behold, she did the very next year. I really admired her performance in The Danish Girl. The story gave her a lot to work with as the wife of Einar Wegener, played by Eddie Redmayne, who was the first person to undergo gender reassignment surgery. The film is just as much hers as it is Redmayne's, and that's part of the reason why she doesn't come higher on this rankings, because this is a clear case of category fraud. She is a co-lead and yet campaigned for supporting actress, but honestly, the category fraud doesn't bother me a whole lot because it is debatable. But the main reason she doesn't come higher on this ranking is because I personally didn't like The Danish Girl all that much. I thought it was quite conventional and boring. I haven't had the desire to rewatch this film, even though I remember that Alicia Vikander was decent in it. Did the right person win that year though? I do think Alicia Vikander was in the wrong category and she should have submitted herself for Best Actress. Going off the word supporting, there was a better choice for that year, and that was Kate Winslet in The Underseen Steve Jobs. She elevated the writing of Aaron Sorkin and delivered a texturized, down-to-earth and transformative performance as Joanna Hoffman. But emotion often trumps nuance when it comes to the Oscars, and that's exactly what happened here with Alicia Vikander and Kate Winslet. Vikander had much more emotionally gushier scenes, which the Academy gobbled up, whereas Kate Winslet's performance was a bit more subtle and naturalistic, and it just wasn't as showy, it didn't grab their attention as much. And yes, I also loved Rooney Mara's performance in Carol, but like Alicia Vikander, she was also in the wrong category. She was a co-lead with Cate Blanchett in Carol. So yes, the rightful winner that year for supporting actress would have been Kate Winslet. But hey, history is history. Okay, so next up at number 7, we have Allison Janney for her wickedly fun performance as the irascible and abusive mother of ice skater Tonya Harding, Lavonna Gold in Craig Gillespie's I, Tonya. This really is the definition of a great supporting role. She's not in the movie that much, but good lord does she leave an impression. You can tell that she's having such a great time playing this cold, callous mother with a venomous tongue. And she also looks like a pantomime villain, complete with a little bird on her shoulder. And I guess that's partly why she doesn't come higher on this list for me, is because at times her performance does border on cartoon villain. You do have a lot of fun watching her, but I much preferred the understated performance of Laurie Metcalf as an overbearing mother in Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. She would have been my pick that year, but again, the quieter, more subtle acting often loses to the louder, bigger acting when it comes to the Oscars. And that's exactly what happened with Metcalf and Janney. Janney had a louder, more grabby performance than Metcalf. And I'm fine with Janney winning, but I do think that Lady Bird and Laurie Metcalf's performance will stand the test of time better, because Lady Bird was one of the best films of the previous decade, and Laurie Metcalf's performance is just understatedly beautiful. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Whatever you have to say about anyone in this category, please do let me know in that comment section down below. Next up at number 6, we have Octavia Spencer for her role as outspoken maid Minnie Jackson in Tate Taylor's The Help. The Help itself hasn't aged all that well, but despite its sugarcoating of the civil rights struggle through the point of view of a white savior narrative, the film boasts an impressive amount of performances from its predominantly female cast, many of whom have gone on to win Oscars themselves after this film. Viola Davis, Emma Stone, and of course Allison Janney, but it was Octavia Spencer who triumphed in The Help. What I love about Octavia Spencer is that she took a role which is somewhat of a stereotypical character for an African American, and forgive me for saying it, but the sassy black maid. And what Spencer did with it was she elevated the role. She added depth and dimensions to the character of Minnie. Yes, she is the comic relief, but she's so much more than that. She's a loyal friend. She has an effortless chemistry with Viola Davis and Jessica Chastain's characters. She's warm but tough. She don't take shit. In fact, she makes others eat hers. But she's also a real human with her own struggles. She's in an abusive relationship with her husband. In short, she is a fully rounded and memorable supporting player. Did the right person win that year? I might be biased because I have undying love for Octavia Spencer, but yes, in my opinion, she was the rightful winner. Next up at number 5, we have Laura Dern for her performance as Nora Fanshawe in Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story. In a film which is packed with top-notch performances, Laura Dern still managed to stand out as the deceptively vicious lawyer Nora. What a great role for Laura Dern as this hilarious cutthroat lawyer who's also disarmingly nice. It is a comic relief role, but Laura Dern enriches every scene that she's in. Did the right person win that year? I mean, after that monologue, you know the one I'm talking about, the one about the double standards of mums and dads, and looking at who she was up against that year, This was definitely Dern's trophy to take home, but I still think that it is a crime that Jennifer Lopez and Zhao Zhuzhen were not nominated. Why weren't they here? If you guys are enjoying this video, please do help me out by hitting that thumbs up button. If you want more Oscar ranking vids, be sure to click subscribe. And if you want to follow me on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd, all those links in that video description down below. At number 4, we have the second winner of the decade to win Best Supporting Actress for a Tom Hooper film. It's Anne Hathaway for her devastating performance as Fantine in Tom Hooper's movie adaptation of Les Misérables. I mean, if there's any role out there that's guaranteed to get you some awards attention, it's Fantine. The abandoned, homeless, working class girl who's forced to sell her body on the streets of Paris to feed her infant daughter who dies from consumption shortly after she belts out one of the most iconic musical numbers of all time. I mean, who could ignore that? But Anne Hathaway dreamed that dream role that her mother also played, and boy did she give it everything that she had. I really love Anne Hathaway's performance in Les Misérables, but what keeps her from entering like the top 3 of this ranking is that it's a performance which reeks of awards desperation. Like, you can tell she really wanted to get an Oscar for this role, and she campaigned her ass off to get it. And because of that, it feels like she's just trying a little hard. I mean, come on, she cut off all her hair to play this role, and she didn't need to do that, but she knew doing so would get her more attention, more clout, and boost her chances of snatching that Oscar. However, I remember being floored by Anne Hathaway's rendition of I Dreamed a Dream. God, that scene, singing through floods of tears in one long, heartbreaking take. After that scene was done, I knew she was going to win the Oscar. Was she the rightful winner? I'm sure some of you will disagree with me, but yes, I think she was the best choice that year, although I can make an argument for Amy Adams in The Master. She was also just as deserving. Taking the 3rd spot, we have Regina King for her stirring performance as Sharon Rivers in the under-nominated and underappreciated film by Barry Jenkins, If Beale Street Could Talk. Regina King plays the matriarch of the Rivers family who are falling apart because of an impending trial involving her future son-in-law, Fonny. It's a performance which makes Regina King glow. She radiates warmth and compassion. In many ways, she personifies the spirit of James Baldwin's novel, which the film is based off of. Great acting is when you forget that you're watching somebody act, and that's how I felt watching Regina King in If Beale Street Could Talk, because her maternal performance is so natural and effortless and heartfelt. She is so good in this movie. Did the right person win that year? Absolutely. As much as I love Rachel Weisz in The Favourite, she was in the wrong category technically because she, Olivia Colman, and Emma Stone played a triptych of leading ladies in The Favourite. However, I would have loved to have seen Emily Blunt nominated for her performance in The Quiet Place. She was so good in that movie and she was robbed of a nomination. However, I was championing Regina King from the moment I saw Beale Street, so I'm so happy that she won. Coming in at number 2, we have Viola Davis for her powerhouse performance as Rosalie Maxson in Denzel Washington's Fences. I know, some of you can probably taste the hypocrisy for me putting Viola Davis so high in this Best Supporting Actress ranking video when she is clearly a co-lead in Fences, when not 6-7 minutes ago did I just penalize Alicia Vikander for category fraud. Well, to that I say Viola Davis is simply too darn good. It's my ruling, it's my ranking video, and I don't care. She is astounding as Rose. Yes, we've all seen the snotty speech scene. Heck, even I'd seen that clip before the Oscars and thought it was enough to accurately predict that she was gonna win that year. But the real skill of Viola Davis's performance is in the smaller, quieter moments of Fences, the way that she can nuance a lifetime's worth of dashed hopes and experiences into this loving but neglected wife with nothing more than a glance, or the way that she holds herself. She's utterly captivating here. Was she the rightful winner? I am so glad that Viola Davis has an Oscar for Fences, but had she been in the Best Actress category, I would have loved to have seen Michelle Williams win for Manchester by the Sea or Naomi Harris for Moonlight. They were both phenomenal. But you're not gonna see me complaining over the fact that Viola Davis has an Oscar for Fences. It's just not gonna happen. Which means coming in at number 1, my favorite Best Supporting Actress Oscar winning performance of the 2010s goes to Lupita Nyongo for her devastatingly powerful performance as Patsy in Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave. I've only ever allowed myself to watch this film once, and that was back in 2013, but I still haven't forgotten Lupita Nyong'o's stunning performance as Patsy. In fact, I think a large factor as to why I've had trouble revisiting this film comes down to the hardships that Nyong'o's character endures. Physical, verbal, and sexual abuse, as well as a public whipping. The depths of despair that Nyong'o manages to reach in this film is enough to wipe you out for a week. I cried for her so hard. It felt like my soul was shattering watching her performance. And comparatively to all the other Best Supporting Actress winners of this decade, Nyong'o stands out because she's not playing a wife or a mother, which is a common denominator when it comes to the Best Supporting Actress winners of this decade. She's playing a slave, a victim, as well as a companion of the protagonist, Solomon Northup, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. And out of all the Best Supporting Actress winners of this decade, her performance is the one which has stayed with me the longest, which is impressive when you learn that this was Lupita Nyong'o's first ever film role. Was she the rightful winner? 100%. Some wonderful performances from all the nominees in this category that year, but none of them held a candle to Lupita Nyong'o in 12 Years a Slave. And there you have it, guys. Those were my rankings of the Best Supporting Actress winners of the 2010s. But as always, it's just one book's opinion. I want to hear yours. What are your rankings of the Best Supporting Actress winners? And what do you think of my rankings? Whatever you have to say, be sure to let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys want more Oscar ranking videos as well as movie and TV reviews, don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.